Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open eCrime Market Commentary for the week of August 13th. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and just coming to you this week with our outlook on the markets. And so let's go ahead and jump into the charts here. So here we are looking at the ES futures, have some of the higher time frames up here, and the monthly chart, again, just looking at the last couple of candles here over the last 3 months, have a nice little trend here breaking to newer highs consistently over the last 3 months. We're still pretty early on in the August candle here, just halfway through the month, so a lot of things can happen on that candle. But overall, we're really bullish. Things are looking very bullish on this chart. As we move over to the weekly chart, we can see just a whole series of rejection candles here that really kind of ignited this this market here in the last number of weeks. Still pushing to new highs, and looking down at the daily chart, we can see actually a little bit of a flat level setting up here. We can see that better on some of the lower time frames. If we move over to the 480, we can actually see 3 touches there, and you'll even see that better setting up on the 240 and the 120. So everything looking good. We have all the moving averages fanned out in alignment on a number of charts, and just looking really for potentially another pullback here. If you look at some of these lower intermediate time frames on like the 120 or the 240, the 60, you'll start to see some divergence on this flat level. So we're going to have to see what happens. We might get a little deeper pullback here within this this resistance point, but eventually, more than likely, things are looking pretty bullish. So eventually, we're going to probably break this point. We just have to see what's going to happen here in the next couple of days. So I'd really be looking for kind of a pullback into the buy zone on the daily chart, and then probably looking for maybe another run up into that flat level, and then looking for probably a break here and maybe the 4th or 5th touch. So what would be ideal is if we could actually get a nice pullback and then a move back up there, and then get a consolidation of small candles along that flat level. Give us a pretty good indication that we're more than likely going to break higher. On the S&P, we're looking at that next level up around 1420, and so that's going to be the next stop, and then beyond that you can see some other resistance points right around here. After that, it's pretty much there's some congestion there after 1420, but pretty much the next stop is going to be that 1530 level. So that's what the S&P looks like. And then moving over to the small caps on the Russell 2000, looking at some of the same time frames here. A little different look here on the last 3 months in terms of the candles. Obviously, we had that nice bullish candle along with the S&P 500, very similar. Got a very indecisive candle there just last month, and then again, we're still halfway through the month here, so I don't really know how that candle is going to shape up. But as we move over to the weekly chart, there's a little better tell here on the weekly. Getting a little bit of a pullback here, and got just really a couple of nice candles here over the last month. On this weekly chart, very bullish, and we actually got a break of the high of both of those candles. So it really tells us that we should be moving higher here to then break this level at right around that 820 level. So moving down to the daily chart, similar thing here. We just got in a lower low right here, and then put in a higher low right here, and then finally I got in a break at this level, put in a higher high right here. So we actually have a change in trend here, getting a little pullback off of that level. Remember last week we were looking for a break of that 800 level. We got that just barely right up around that 805, 806 level, getting a pullback down into those moving averages. Everything are pretty much into alignment, the 200, the 50, the 20, and the 10, and looking for a move back higher off that level. We can see here on the 240 that we're getting that pullback. If we get a breakdown below this 785 level, I'd probably be looking for maybe like a 50% retracement, so something maybe down around that 780 level, that resistance level that we've been looking at. If we can get down that far, and then looking for potentially a bounce back up off of that. There is some divergence on some of the intermediate time frames, similar to the S&P 500. So on the 120, the 60, you'll see some divergence on some of these highs around this level. And so more than likely that divergence is going to play out, get a deeper pullback, and then potentially look for a move higher. So with these moves, there's always going to be some news coupled around that, either coming out of Europe or elsewhere. So be keen on that. But really, we're really following the weekly chart here. So everything down to really the 760 level would be a little farther than I would think. But obviously, pullback right back into that 780 level would be fairly reasonable. So again, we're very bullish the market, even with the small caps, and looking for the markets to move higher. And looking here at the 10-year treasuries on the monthly, weekly charts, you can see this has been just an absolute monster trend here back since 2008. The market's really been on a tear, great pullbacks right back into the moving average zones, and then a lot of acceleration out of there. You can see the same thing on the weekly chart. We're just getting a pullback here on the weekly chart, and you just got a very small bullish candle here closed out last week, right in and amongst the 10 and 20 period moving average. All the moving averages fanning out in alignment, moving to the upside. Same thing on the daily chart. Just getting a little deeper pullback here. Finally got a lower low in place. Got a nice little rejection candle at the bottom there, and looks like right up against that, that level right there around 133. And looking to maybe push higher, and we can, as we move down on some of the time frames to like the 240, the 480, we can start to see a little flat level setting up. We got a couple of touches here on this one, got a little deeper pullback, and we're moving right back up into that 133.8 level. The only thing I don't like about this flat level break is that 134 congestion area right there. But looking at some of the higher time frames, the weekly, the monthly, looks like we could get some good acceleration off of this flat level to move higher. There is some divergence down around the 60-minute chart, but as far as like the 120, the 240, the 480, all those charts are looking pretty good on this flat level. Now on these intermediate time frames, it's going to look like we're going against the trend. What we're really doing is we're trading off of this weekly chart and trading off of this buy zone and looking for this to move, at least back up into say that 135 level, and at least double test that high. So that's kind of what treasuries are looking like. Things are looking fairly bullish there with that flat level going higher here in the next week. And here we have the dollar CAD, and as you know, the dollar CAD's been in a little bit of a downtrend here on the monthly chart, and then the weekly chart's looking a little bit choppy. But as we move down to some of the other time frames like the daily and the 480, the 240, we actually have a nice trend setting up down here with a series of lower highs, lower lows, and really just looking for a move back up into the sell zone here against some of that resistance right there around like almost that one level, which has been around for quite a while as both support and resistance, and then be looking for a nice trend flow set up off of that. We actually have, as you go down on the time frames, we have a couple of touches here setting up a flat level down around that 99 level, and so we might have a flat level coupled up with some sell candles in the sell zone here over the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for some of the trend flow setups as you get down to the 240 and the 120 time frames. I believe on the 120 you'll start to see a little bit of divergence setting up with this second touchdown here. But as far as the 240, the 480, I think we can be looking for a trend flow setup. And as you recall, with the trend flow setup, we can actually continue to trade short even when we see some divergence on some of those intermediate time frames. So I'd be looking to get short a dollar CAD on one of these pullbacks, and then look for that setup candle in the sell zone to continue this trend moving a little bit lower, and then looking to probably take some profit down here around that 98 level, and then see where things go from there. Okay, so take a look at the dollar CAD, see if you like that setup. So there's the outlook for the U.S. indices, some foreign currencies and commodities for you this week. We would like to thank you for watching the Open eCrime market commentary this week, and we do look forward to speaking to you on the market update next week.